Hey guys, welcome to episode 18 of the Drift Podcast.
Yeah, welcome.
Surprised we made it this far, actually.
Yeah.
Fucking started off today with a safety special because we've seen and done some not so good things.
Yeah, you live and learn.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what our episode today is going to be about. Should be a good time.
Yeah,
with some interesting stories.
Basically, we're doing this episode only a week after our previous episode because I'm going to be in Japan. I'm not going to have time to do an episode more than likely while I'm over there. Plus, it's a little bit difficult logistically because Ben doesn't have the audio equipment at his house. So we're doing this kind of a while I'm in Japan episode. But yeah, enjoy.
Yeah. So let's start it off with some news. Ken Nomura.
Yeah, I just told you this news. I only found out today. He put it up on his Facebook a little while ago, but it was being in Japanese. I maybe thought it was just a little hard to understand that he was leaving, but he's quitting drifting, basically
Retiring from
yeah.
D1. Hopefully he doesn't
D1.
quit de-drifting completely.
I imagine he will still just attend events and
yeah, I mean,
just,
like, you can't just walk away
yeah.
from it. He's been a hero for so many people for so long.
Yeah.
And
So
all that. We had Rally Drift series on this weekend.
Yep.
That was pretty cool.
Yep.
There's been a
Steven
few videos.
was down there.
Yeah,
So
seen a few
who won
videos
Drift
pop up.
Masters was down there.
Yeah.
We also had the other event 2 hours south of Raleigh.
Yeah, Summer Bash down at Port Macquarie.
Yep.
Looked like an awesome event. Tom, Cody, Fridays, and a few other cool people down there, all driving. Tom,
I think Ty Jeffries
Did he?
down there.
Yeah,
I'm not
Ty.
sure if he was driving.
True.
I haven't checked his Instagram, but I saw that he was in the back of a car, so I know he was there.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it looked like an awesome event. Heaps of cool cars. I'm
He's starting his vlogs again too.
super
So,
keen to see some footage.
yeah.
It'll be awesome.
And that's about it for news. Other than that, you went drifting, I went filming, and we
it was
put some
hot.
stuff up on Facebook. It was hot. It was 38 degrees today in Brisbane, Celsius, which is damn hot.
And
Yeah, we were cooking on a virtual barbecue, basically.
yeah, no, it was pretty crazy. I'm impressed that the RB went so well.
I'm surprised you're not as burnt as you should
I
be.
was like covering myself in sunscreen. Like, it was hectic. The helmet rubbed all the stuff off the back of my neck, so I'm in pain right now. But
Lovely.
no, it was good. I had a great time. So stay tuned for more videos. We'll try and pop them up on the Facebook page and the Instagram.
Yeah. I did a lot of filming at that event, so yeah, there should be a fair few videos.
Keen.
All right, let's get into
Let's
it.
get into it.
I'm not sure how long this episode's going to be. I feel like it's either going to be a very long episode or a very short episode. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll just play it by ear. We don't have any guests for this one. I would love to get a proper safety technician or someone who builds cars for a living, professionally. Even not even drift related, even something like rally related. And do know that when you are building a car, you shouldn't just be focusing on your specific type of motorsport, because rally, circuit racing, all this stuff applies, and it's
and a lot
really
of
good to
those-
get information that's legit from those,
because a lot
sources.
of those are much more professional, much more monitored.
Yeah.
Motorsports rather than
a lot
drifting.
of the drifting related safety stuff is just pulled from other motorsports, plain and simply.
Yeah,
Nothing's really made up specifically too much. It certainly wouldn't be any different from rally. So,
rally cars being some of the safest vehicles
exactly
you can ever get into.
Exactly. And you only get one spine. You only get one neck. You
get one face, one life.
Like,
if you're gonna do something, do it more or less properly, I guess, is what the
know,
moral of the story is.
There's no reason to take risks. Like, so yeah. Let's start off with what's our first one. Are we jumping straight into it?
Yeah,
no, let's just ease our way into it.
All right. So
we won't pick the hardest one off the top of the bat.
Sweet as. All right, let's start with batteries, mounting, and like general wiring.
Mm-hmm.
So
you can talk about that one.
Yeah. So back when I first got my 8.6, being a rusty car, my battery tray holder snapped off, and I had the really smart idea of just cable tying the whole thing in.
Nice.
But then I got marshaled through on a corner that I shouldn't have, and I just sent it and I hit the riffle strip, and then I hit the dirt, and then I jumped the car, and the battery actually snapped half the zip ties, and it got wedged between my radiator fan shroud and the crank pulley, and I went for a lap around the track, seeing battery acid absolutely everywhere, and then my car started shitting itself, and then I pulled up to like the marshalling point, and all the marshals were, like, screaming at me, like, turn the car off and all that stuff. Thankfully, nothing bad happened at all, other than just battery acid everywhere. But that could have quite easily turned into something a lot worse than that. And from that day, I've, like, always made sure that my battery is very securely tied down, whether it be with, like, a proper clamp or like a ratchet strap type deal, just to make sure that the thing will not move. Because, like, when you fuck up in drifting, you can fuck up pretty badly. And yeah, so I guess, like, main thing is make sure your battery is secured.
Yep, and there's no excuse for this. You can buy a battery box very easily. You can buy battery clamps that mount those battery boxes. When you do mount them, obviously the battery clamp is mounting to the battery box, so and it'll have a tray that it mounts to. You need to really secure that tray down. That's simple, you know, simple stuff, common sense.
Oh, yeah.
No silly stuff that's not going to take weight. When you're drifting, there's just so many G-forces on things. You can't just have things zip tied like that. So
no,
don't be Ben.
Don't be me. Another thing to that: when you're rear mounting your battery, vent it out the car.
Well, no, you
Yes.
shouldn't have to, because you should just be running a sealed gel battery. You shouldn't be running lead acid inside the cabin.
But
Unless,
if you do,
unless it comes from factory, like some Skylines and stuff, they're rear mounted. They're set up to be able to work in that way. But if you're doing it yourself and you're moving your battery to the boot for more room for intercooler piping or something, definitely just get a sealed battery. There are so many options for batteries these days. But still, again, just mount it properly. Make sure that your cables and stuff are not going to arc out. This is probably just going to move straight on to electrical and wiring.
Yep, let's just go into that while we're here.
You just want to, like, I'm an auto elec, so all this is second nature to me. I can't even really explain what to do, because I just know what to do. You know, if there's any risk of it getting cut, I always sheath it in. You can buy like a rubberized outer with like a fiberglass inner sheath that they put on your oil cooler lines and stuff like that, your AN lines, to protect them. But you can use, it's a flame-proof sheath, and you can use that exact same sheath to cover battery cables and stuff. If you're doing battery to the boot, I cover as much wiring as I can in that. Especially when it gets towards the engine bay. Anything close to heat sources like turbos and exhaust manifolds, simple stuff like that. It's really cheap, and it could very well save you butt one day. It's really easy to find from most race shops. So electrical wiring, super common on Sylvias. Make sure that you don't allow the cables to be run too close to the wheels and tires, because they cut in the inner arches. They should always be relocated to somewhere else other than in the
over the top of the strut tower inside the engine bay.
Somewhere nice. You got to remember that's all on turbo side too, that this issue happens. So you want to make sure that if you're doing that you're not just running cables just somewhere stupidly where it looks ugly, for one, and number two, you don't want it to get burnt as well. So you have to really think about and plan out where you're going to be running those cables. Don't just chop them and put connectors on it to run it. You're going to have to trace it right back, unplug it all, and run it through properly, and then extend it correctly. Soldering's not always the best solution, and there's specific ways to solder. If you're watching the video, I'll show my fingers how I always do it. You just hook the two wires like this and solder in this area. That's how, from what I've read, that's how they do it in the armed forces, to do quick solder joints and stuff like that. I've never had something fail when I've done it that way. It'll always, if it does fail, it'll fail on the outside edge of the solders, the actual joint itself won't fail. And yeah, just make sure that, like, because you're dealing with electricity that can create sparks, so you want to make sure that you don't have any fuel leaks. My friend, he had his car catch on fire on the first time he started it because the starter motor wire was loose. The main battery positive terminal to the starter motor wire was loose. It wasn't done up, it was finger tight, and he had a fuel leak that he didn't realize. His injector O-rings on the first time he started the engine, fresh engine build, they were leaked oil as soon as he keyed on. Hit start, sparked at the starter motor, set the whole engine bay on fire, you know? Simple things like that. Just, yeah.
Yeah, always double check your connections. We had a similar issue with one of my mate's cars where the surge tank pump, the little locking collar ring.
I don't know what just happened with this.
I really hope that's still streaming.
Oh, no,
there we go. It's on.
It's back.
Wouldn't be the Drift Podcast without technical difficulties.
Yeah, I think screensaver. That's okay.
But yeah, anyways, the little locking O-ring that holds all the wiring and stuff kept falling down, and we didn't realize, and it actually kept shorting out the pump in the tank.
Right.
And little did we know until we pulled it out that it was actually creating spark, and thankfully the fuel tank was sealed and no.
Well, not just that, is they actually have an earth strap that you'll always see an extra black wire at your fuel pump assembly, and that's actually like an earth strap.
This wasn't supposed to be an in-tank pump fuel tank.
And it probably wasn't earth strapped or anything
No.
safe. Not ideal.
Yeah. So yeah, always just double check all your stuff that's related to or going
if you're talking
anywhere
about
near
in fuel, making sure that you're using the right connectors that are fuel compatible, especially E85 compatible, because that shit will eat everything.
Yeah.
You know, don't just put some twisty tape down there. You know, Ben.
I'm just gonna leave now.
So, electrical safety as well. You know, like if a battery cable shorts, it's gonna be damn hot wherever it shorts, and you want to. That's why I also wrap it in that heat-proof stuff, because then that's not going to burn through and catch fire to any interior panels or even your sound deadening and stuff. Sometimes can be flammable. So. Yeah, batteries in boots, you got to do it right, you know. Yeah. Don't just grab some.
Don't cheap out.
Yeah, don't just grab random cable, throw it through somewhere. Always use grommets when you're going through steel firewalls or things like that. Plan ahead, you know. Just it's common sense. It's common sense.
Yeah.
And I can't really think of much else to do with electrical, like realistically.
Always heat shrink and tape when you're doing just general jobs. Don't just leave it all ratty. Like the person that built my 8.6.
Yeah. Don't run cables over moving parts or near moving parts. Or another big one when you are running cabling is think about in an accident. Like my friend was going to run some cabling for his RX-7 as we were doing a battery in the boot, and he wanted to run his main battery positive cable along the arch above the wheel. And I'm like, so what happens if you get in an accident? Where's the most likely thing that's going to happen? Either going to front end, or you're going to get a T-bone in the front, or you're going to hit a guardrail in the front. I'm like, if that hits, boom, that's arced out. There's no fuses. You can't put any fuses between a battery and a starter motor, because it on initial start it'll draw, I think they draw something like 1,000 amps or something like that, up to it's for like a high comp motor, you know. So that's a lot of amperage, and you can imagine that getting arced out. That's just going to go to as many amps as that can draw out of that battery. So big things to think about is not just how it's running at the moment, but what it's going to be like in an accident. Same goes for fuel lines, and might as well just move on to them.
Yep, let's move to fuel lines and fittings.
Yeah,
you want to start that one off?
Yeah. Basically, fuel lines, don't run rubber hose inside the car or underneath the car. This is so common when people are doing swaps and they're changing to EFI or whatever. Run hardline. you know, and there's so many ways to do it these days. It's so cheap. You can go to your hardware store and you can buy tube benders, do it all so nice and neat. You can run Bundy tube. That stuff's like $5 a meter or less, you know, and you're only gonna need like to do a full return setup, you're gonna need like 12 meters at the most, and that'll give you heaps left over. And you can get it to whatever size you want, and it's just the proper way to do it. Don't be running rubber line through the car. I've seen it way too many times. I've seen one where it just ran up along the side of the car under the door sills and stuff like that. What happens if you get in an accident and get T-boned? Like, boom, there's fuel everywhere, you know? Really have to think about this stuff. There's a reason why car manufacturers run fuel under the car, because if there's a fire, it's under the car, not in the car. Yeah. So don't run braided hose for fuel lines. So common for people to do this. Do not do it. It's not designed for it. You can't see where it's leaking. Plain and simply, you can't. You'll always forever smell a fuel leak because you just can't see where it's leaking in a braid. Yeah. So don't do it. It's that simple. Just run hardline. All the cleanest setups you'll ever see are always just hardline.
Yeah,
plain and simple.
I guess moving on from that, always use correct fittings.
Yeah,
as I've personal experience yet again. Dodgy hose clamps that came on my car when I got it. I didn't really notice it, and I've gone for a test setup. And
recording. Oh shit! I'm gonna have to pull that start off.
Oh well.
That's good.
Yeah, I went to start my car up after replacing.
Can I see how many minutes we've been doing it for?
There we go.
No, it doesn't.
Probably
like 20 minutes. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to start my car up, and it was after I replaced the alternator or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the fuel line popped off the inlet and sprayed fuel all over my alternator, and then my car caught fire.
Did it not have a barb on the fitting or something?
Yeah, it did, but the hose clamp itself was just that old and that ratty, and it wasn't an EFI clamp that under the pressure just went pop.
So for an EFI clamp, before you jump ahead, EFI clamps must be used on fuel lines. They clamp over like this and they squish that way. It stops it from crushing the hose. You'll notice that on like a normal hose clamp, they'll have those little dimples and they actually cut into the hose. And can't use them on EFI. Must use the proper clamps.
Always use EFI clamps.
Yeah.
It terrified me.
Yeah.
From that day on. And also check your fuel lines when you buy a car. I got my after I reshelled my 34, we didn't really check the fuel lines because we just smashed it out in 2 days. But I went to go and drive my 34 down to the exhaust shop down the road. I blew 3 different fuel lines on the way there just because they were so old and I didn't check them. Yeah, and neither did anyone else because we were just flat out taking a motor and gearbox out and putting it all back into a new car.
Yeah, and
we just used the hoses that were on the car. So another big thing, just go through and check your fuel lines, and if you're gonna run an E85, go get your E85 compatible fuel lines because as Trav said before, it just eats absolutely everything.
Yeah, anything plastic, it'll eat it. So
yeah, so fuel lines, fuel.
Yeah, I did think of another thing to do with fuel, but I can't remember what it is right now. So we'll come back to that if I remember it.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Well, I think we might as well jump in. Let's go brake lines while we're on the subject of lines.
Yeah.
So just give me a copy of this. Yep, there we go. People should be able to hear us now.
Cool.
So basically, to making sure we've got some photos up if you are watching. Making sure when you run brake lines that they are not in a position where they can hit the wheel, because obviously a lot of people are running more lock, more knuckles,
extended LCAs, and getting more lock and running different sets of caster. So
I was going to say larger wheels, so you can push it closer towards brake lines. My mate, he drove his car over to my house. As he pulled into the driveway, like turning on full lock, it cut the brake line in half. Like, and he had no brakes. If that had happened anywhere else on his drive over to my house, he probably would have been dead. So, or at least could have potentially hit someone. Like, you know, if he had to come to a stop to a traffic light, no brakes,
could have gone through an intersection,
clean up an old lady. You know, so routing brake lines and use if you're doing knuckles and stuff like that or bigger wheels, you should just change to braided. Obviously, you can see if you're watching, there's some popped braids and stuff like that.
Don't buy eBay brake lines.
Yeah,
buy something that's a quality
but make sure they
brand.
don't get crushed, you know, or twist to a point where they kink as well, you know, because it's still just a nylon hose inside that braid. The braid isn't the hose.
No,
the braid,
just
it's just like a protection for the nylon hose inside. If your rubber hose gets old and cracked, make sure you replace it because it will blow out. Yeah,
90% of our cars are all made
20 to 30 years old at least.
Yeah, so go through, check all your hoses, and buy quality brake lines. And as Trav said, always check that your wheels don't touch your brake lines. Yeah,
that's a massive one, and it's common sense. I think that is really it with so much to do with safety. It is common sense, people.
Yeah,
like
sometimes
it's hard
it's
to
easy
think
to
of
look
everything.
over,
Yeah, it's common sense in hindsight, I guess, but it's still common sense. So if the whole thing when you're in like construction industry or anything like that, if it looks unsafe, it probably is. So, yeah. All right, let's move on to the hard stuff. Post. There we go. People should be able to hear us. People should be able to hear us on this one. Does that work?
Have you?
Oh,
you messed up.
It didn't do it. Hang on, let me change these.
Seconds for the technical difficulties.
Yeah, I'll just change these photos quickly. And remove. And so we're doing harnesses now. Now, harnesses, they're very important to do this right.
Yeah. So if you're watching, please enjoy.
Yeah. So basically, with harnesses, there is one correct way to do it and 1,000 wrong ways to do it. This is so important to get right, and so many people just get it wrong. Even semi-professionals get it wrong a lot.
It's something like you talk to someone that's worked at a performance shop, and they will tell you endlessly how many times someone has come in with like their harness bolted right behind their seat, like straight down. Straight down.
Yeah. Or even into the rear passenger mounting holes for like seat belts and stuff like that. You can't do it. As you can see in this video, 20 degrees from your neck is where you can do it. Like, that's where you can mount it to. That's simple. I mean, this is for a 5 and 6 point. There are some others that you can go down to, I think it's a 45 degree. You need to check these specs when you buy the specific harness. Now, another big thing with harnesses is how you wrap them. Now, I've put it up in this, and you can see above, and I'll have it linked in the description for the podcast as well, is to this PDF document that shows you how to fit it all. So don't stress if you can't read all this too quickly enough. But there's a certain way to wrap it, and you can see it on this page here. And if you don't wrap it like that, it will come loose. Like, you have to wrap it in that way. That is how all harnesses are done, and it has to be tied up to the bar. You can't leave a big loop, like where it comes out from your bar. You can't have the hoop, like, or the loop of where it goes around that bar. There, it's got to be right up tight, right up hard on that bar. You need to have at least 2 inches or 50 mil of the leftover strap hanging through. But generally, you're always gonna, like, if you don't, your harness bar's in the wrong spot, plain and simple. Down, you can see down for your ones on your lap. They're the correct positions to put it on your lap. Make sure it's tight, and make sure it's low on your pelvis. There's a issue with harnesses and all seatbelts called submarining. In a lot of ways, factory seatbelts are really safe for that, because if you've ever taken notice, they will let you pull forward just a touch before they stop you. That's actually built into the way it's meant to work. They're meant to do that. So what submarining is where you're sitting in your seat and you slide out and under the seat. And basically, if you've ever seen any of those really bad videos where the girls just slide right down in the seats in the roller coasters and stuff like that, that can be super dangerous for your insides. If you feel on your pelvis just above how soft your stomach is compared to where your pelvis is, you can imagine a tight seatbelt at G-forces quite excessive pressing into your internal organs and your intestines. You do not want that to happen. It will mess you up internally in an accident. Plain and simple. Like, it's plain and simple. You need your shoulders to come forwards before it pulls on your pelvis area, and that stops submarining. Now, leading on to that with harnesses, never, ever, ever buy second-hand harnesses. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Because if that has been in an accident or fitted incorrectly, slammed in a door, that's a big one, left out in the sun, washed with chemicals, any of those types of things, and they're all in this instructions PDF, any of those things can damage the minute braids inside the harness. Now you're probably just thinking, oh, it's just a seatbelt, whatever. No, harnesses are different. They actually are designed to tear just a little bit. And what that tearing does is it allows your shoulders to come forward in an accident. So it won't tear down on your your lap belt that goes over your pelvis. It will tear on the shoulder straps, and it's called like an anti-submarining. Basically, yeah, it just has these tiny little tears, and it just allows you to come forward just that little bit. Like, it'd probably be like 2 centimeters that it allows you to come forward. But once it's done that, it will never tear again. You have to buy new. There's a whole big thing in this that I've read multiple times in this instruction PDF. If you've used it, you lose it, because once it's been broken, it has to be thrown away.
Has to be replaced.
Yeah. Absolute must. There's so much to do with harnesses. Please just research it properly. Please make sure where you're hooking your harness onto is secure enough. Like, you might have a passenger that weighs a significant amount more than what you do. Make sure that it's over-engineered area, that it's not just going to tear out with 2 of you on the one harness bar, you know? Common sense. Like,
for one, you don't want to hurt your passenger, and 2, you don't really want to hurt yourself.
Exactly. Never ever wear your harness and your factory seatbelt. Seems stupid, but I'm sure someone's thought about it.
More safety.
Yeah. If you're gonna use harnesses, has to be in an aftermarket seat. They will not work in a factory seat. Don't ever do it. That's just simple. They're designed to work together. You should always wear a neck brace. You can even just get little foam ones that just sit under your helmet. They're like $15. Just buy one. I know it makes it a little bit difficult in drifting, but a hands device is another one to consider getting. They're pretty expensive, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper than a new spine.
Not wrong.
I
guess it comes down to
with drifting. I know you need to be able to turn your head, so it's not super common that people use them. It's something you should look into. If you think it's going to be right for you, then just go get it. But you must use it with a 5 or 6 point harness. They can't be used with a 4 point. And yeah, always just make sure that you're speaking with your manufacturer. They'll always have a way to contact them. If they don't have a fitting guide, even before you buy it, hit them up for the fitting guide. If they cannot supply you with a fitting guide, you don't want to buy it.
Yeah, go buy different harnesses.
Exactly. Yeah. If you cross your harnesses on your harness bar, just make sure that in between the cross where it goes over the harness bar in here, you have a piece of foam that separates them at least 75 millimeters. They have to stay separated, or else if they get tangled and squashed like that, then they won't work properly. Yeah, there's so much
it's
to
a
do
little
with
bit
harnesses.
more than just
Harnesses are something you have to know what you're doing before you even think about doing it. You know, there's just so much safety with harnesses. Please don't be silly, you know. Don't go buying eBay harnesses. Like, God. Yeah. That's one thing that really gets me. It really gets me. Like, I can walk around a Matsuri in Australia and half the people will have harnesses. Maybe
fake
a little bit
Takata
less.
Hun ones. Yeah, you know. It's just...
It kills me. It kills me. Like, might kill them. But, you know, like, it's not worth it for, like, genuine Takatas in your drift harnesses. They're good. Some of them have a seatbelt connector, so they're super easy to put on and for your passenger to put on and stuff like that. They're just a 4-point. I'd recommend them realistically, so long as you're buying from a very reputable place, because there's so many copies.
Oh, it's just ridiculous.
This Scroth Racing, these harnesses look really good. I didn't see a 4-point on their website, but I didn't have a whole lot of time to look. But they're definitely one to consider as well. And a 5 and 6-point also helps with stopping submarining. Obviously.
Yeah.
That's about it for harnesses, I think.
Don't put one in your car if you don't have a roll cage.
It actually said in here that you can. It
Still
did
scares
actually.
me.
I
wouldn't.
For me, with a harness, for me to run a harness, got to have race seats, got to have a cage, got to have a good helmet, got to have a neck brace. It's for me, it's not I'll have one of those things.
It's all of them.
It's all or factory seat belt, a helmet and a neck brace. I don't think I would. Yeah, cage.
At least
look, if
not
you're
a full
building
cage,
a
half
cage,
cage,
you should be putting a harness bar in it. Put it that way.
Yeah.
And if you're parking your car outside, remove the harness if you're parking it outside for a long period of time, so the harness doesn't get sun damaged.
Yeah.
Simple.
They're not just something you slap in your car, essentially. It takes a bit
it's all planned out from the beginning, and it depends on your build, you know, and it depends on your local racetrack's requirements, you know. If they're going to require a harness or a cage, then that's what you need to do, you know. So everywhere's different. Just be careful on your manufacturer you choose, and your reseller as well, just to make sure they're selling you genuine stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
You can talk for a bit. My throat's getting a bit sore.
Yeah, you went into that, eh? Now, buying like fake wheels and cheap boss kits on street cars, especially on street cars, it just
fake quick releases.
Fake quick releases. It's just
only buy Works Bell. Well, actually, I think what's that other American brand?
NRG.
Yeah, I've never held one, but they're a reputable
brand. My mate
brand.
had one on his car, and he's never had an issue. And he did actually crash that because he crashed it into you, which was funny enough. I wish I had the video to put right here.
That?
Yeah, in the K70.
Cool.
Yeah, no. Buy
genuine NRG. Genuine.
Yeah, buy genuine
Works Bell.
Works Bell. Like, just.
I'm pretty sure Sparko doesn't make quick releases. Just putting it out there.
I've never actually really looked on their website.
I'm fairly certain they don't actually make them, and that they're all fakes. It would not surprise me.
It definitely would not surprise me.
Yeah.
The amount of like Chinese companies that just slap something on a name, they're like, "Hey, Sparko quick release done, sell it," and it's like, you know, Are you really gonna risk?
I had a friend have one, and he's like, "Yeah, check it out." And I'm like, just doing this with it. I'm like, how is this safe, man? Like, I could just move it there and just go kunk, 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 kunk. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? It's like, oh, race car life. And I'm like,
no.
Yeah, no thanks.
No.
So,
buy if you're gonna run a quick release, always buy a quality
talking to
one.
Mike.
Because like so many. There's that video that went around like 2 months ago of that dude coming to Mabara Twin. And his steering wheel pops off and he goes into the wall.
I didn't see it.
Haven't you seen it?
No.
Yeah, it's funny. He's coming. He's like wah, 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 and then steering wheel just comes off and he tries to grab the hub and try not to hit the wall. It's just
No way.
exactly that is why you don't buy cheap quick releases.
That's terrible.
It's just insane.
Yeah.
When you buy boss kits that go, like, on a street car, buy a collapsible one.
Yeah, as long as they're available.
If you're ordering a HKB one,
genuine HKB one.
Yeah, okay. If you're ordering a genuine HKB one, 90% of them are all collapsible ones, unless they're specifically designed not to be. Like the 3 that I've ended up with.
Workspell makes really good stuff. Like,
Workspell, NRG
pay the money.
make good ones.
Safety is a big deal.
You don't want to lose your face to steering wheel just because it doesn't collapse that little bit forward in a crash.
Padded steering wheels.
We die like real men.
Ben has wood grain.
No, I don't. I don't know. No.
Don't you?
No, I've got a flat face 90 Classic in the 8.6. It's really good. But I do have a collapsible boss kit because I don't want to die.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
90 Classics.
I mean, my steering wheel isn't a Talbolani. It's a full padded, only because I don't want to get hassled by cops. So it's pretty simple.
Didn't you have a steel
I had a
face
genuine Nardi though.
Yeah.
But that was a deep dish one, so you got to get your head right in there before you hit steel. Like, so, yeah, in a deep dish one, I guess you kind of okay.
Yeah, but you're gonna hit the rim first anyway. So
exactly, that's what I mean.
It's all just gonna hurt.
Yeah,
you.
it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. Back on seatbelts, checking for frays as well.
Oh yeah,
that's it. That's one.
Not just that, because the police will rape you as well.
Yeah,
for it.
but I mean, cars getting old, like 20, 30 years old. Check for frays.
Yeah.
I'm gonna switch it off this one. We'll go back to here. And
steering wheels. What was this? You've ruined my train of thought now.
Oh, sorry. I don't really.
Fake wheels. Let's just go straight to fake wheels. Don't buy them. I've seen a crash. It actually happened at Matsuri. We talked about it. The episode
I think we've
afterwards.
already talked about fake versus real stuff.
We have, but it just more to the fact of if you can crash hard enough to break a genuine Nardi, you don't want a fake wheel in your car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen way too many videos of people just literally ripping the steering wheels off and they come off the mount where they bolt on.
So, or they've supposedly been welded.
Yeah.
Or glued. One of the two. Just
buy genuine.
Just buy something good quality. Like
NRG, Nardi. We should have hit them up. We should have hit up NRG. They make harnesses. They make all this cool stuff. Maybe we'll look at getting them on in a later episode. But yeah, just buy genuine.
Just buy quality.
Buy quality. Buy new for steering wheel if possible, because at least you know where it's coming from. There's so many fakes out there. You can check the serial numbers on the Nardi website.
Sure, Nardi have the serial number search on there. So because I know, some of the new fakes are actually coming out with fake serial numbers as well. So just really don't just sit there and go, hey, it's got a serial number. Go search it.
Yeah, make sure it's not a flagged number.
Yeah, because it'll tell you if it's come out of the factory there or not.
Yep.
Yeah, just because it's just seeing the videos of people just even leaning on.
Go watch the Driftworks video.
Go watch Driftworks. Fat Guy Ben's Nardi, best video.
Yeah, that's from years ago.
It's just
all right. Next,
don't do it.
Racing seats. Buy a real one.
Yeah, literally.
Make sure it's not cracked. Check the fiberglassing. Don't buy fakes. Just because it says Bright on it and you think it's cool doesn't mean you should use it.
No. More to the fact,
there's heaps of fake Recaros too.
Had a friend's one actually. He didn't actually buy it. He got it given to him as like a payment for something,
Mhm.
and he was like, "Oh yeah, to make a sweet simulator seat," and then it kind of ended up in his drift car, and like just even the metal that they used to mount the seat to like those universal sliding rails.
Yeah.
Like, he was drifting one night and it came up, and then all of a sudden the seat just fell over and he was like lying on the trans tunnel in his passenger's lap. That's how hectic it was. Like they just snap. They're not welded properly. Then
Yep.
and that's just like, then you got to remember it's also mounted down the side with a plate piece of metal.
Yeah. Yep. Obviously, you're a little bit safer with a fixed back, but in a copy. But at the same time, they're made with a lot thinner and weaker fiberglass. They'll probably just soak that thing full of resin rather than using proper fibers, the amount that you're meant to use. Just don't buy fake. It's so easy not to. Like, there are so many cheap available options these days. You don't have to buy the most expensive bride's genuine from Japan.
No, like, and that's the thing. Like in Australia, we have quite a few options just because it doesn't have the Wang Factor Japanese name on it. Like,
what's the one that starts with V?
Velo make amazing
Velo,
seats.
and they're not that dear.
No, they are brilliant. They're all ADR approved. So if you want to put them in your street car, you can just bolt them in.
Yep. And I don't know if they. I wouldn't be saying that.
No, they are.
Ooh.
No, they are ADR approved. They come with a tag.
I'm going to put a disclaimer and say check the website.
We did.
I didn't.
We did. Because I got my friend to buy one for his car.
Okay, I'm going to put a disclaimer on there and
even
say
Highway Patrol was not even fussed by it. They're like, anyways,
moving
yes.
on.
MSA,
NRG, they also make some.
Yeah, MSA make their own seats as well, which are also good quality.
Yep.
So, just because it says it's some Japanese brand, doesn't mean you should spend money on it if it's a fake.
Yeah.
Velo make amazingly comfortable seats. The MSA seats are pretty good.
Yep.
Recaro is also a very readily.
Again, there's lots of fakes.
Yeah, not as. There's a lot of older style fake ones.
So
but
the good thing about a Recaro, you can get it out of an Evo, you can get it out of a WRX, and they're going to be a genuine one. They're going to be old, but they're genuine.
Yeah.
So, and you can get some of those really good Evo ones that have all of this different lumbar support adjustments. It's all electric, and they're so
sounds like something
nice.
you'd like.
My mate has one of his 86, and it's so nice. Oh, you just got to hook up positive, negative, and you just got all these different adjustments.
I will admit that sounds pretty good.
Yep,
that's pretty good.
Yep.
Seat rails.
Yeah, don't just tack them together with your gasless MIG.
No, get them done properly. Yet again, another experience. My mate ended up in someone else's lap.
Buy bride rails to suit your car from Japan.
Yeah,
they're so easy to find.
Do have to do custom rails, just make sure you go and get it done somewhere reputable. That aren't just going to go, and, oh yeah, man, she's sweet.
Yeah.
Not knowing that, maybe you're a bigger dude.
Yeah. Yep. That's simple.
Yeah, just real common sense on that one.
Yeah, so as I said, so much was common sense. What do you got next?
What do we got? What would you want to talk about next?
Yeah, sure. Where your exhaust? I guess that's just like where you were mounting your exhaust.
Yeah, think about like external gates, heat wrap.
Oh yeah,
stuff like that. Yeah. Make sure you think about where you're mounting your external gate.
Yeah, don't point it towards something that you don't want it to be pointing towards.
Make sure there's nothing near it. Like if you swap a 1G into something that was originally a Nissan motor, usually the fuel lines are on the exhaust side.
Yeah.
Be careful. Things catch fire very quickly.
Yeah.
Also, with your heat wrapping stuff, happened with a couple of 4Ages I've seen. This actually happened in the States more than I've seen it here. Heat wrap and oil, or heat wrap and a lot of other things, don't play nicely together with heat. They catch fire and they go up very, very, very quickly.
Yeah, fire spreads quickly in a moving car with so much oxygen coming into it.
Yeah.
It's not like a house where it's just standing still. You're in a moving car.
Yep. So just think about when you're heat wrapping stuff, like make sure your motor's not leaking oil on it. Make sure it's not near anything that can leak something flammable on it, because it just goes up, and when it goes up, it goes. You know about that.
Yep. Let's never speak of that again.
Yep.
Next, speaking of fires, fire safety equipment. If you're running in Pro Series, you're probably going to have an automatic fire suppression system. If you're not, buy a fire extinguisher, check the date, make sure that you're checking the date and that it all looks good. If it looks average, throw it in the bin. If it's out of date, throw it in the bin. If you use it, throw it in the bin.
Yeah, there's literally
They're
no
like
excuse for that.
$30.
They're
Just
literally
I buy one every
$30.
year.
Yeah, it's
Done.
like have the little amount. Even
Set
if
a
you just
reminder
put
in
it,
your calendar to buy it every year. Done.
yeah, like
Don't let it roll around in your back seat because it'll break the end off it or something, or it could damage it for the point when you need it.
Yep.
The most. Next one to buy is a first aid kit. If you go onto the track, bring a first aid kit. If you go into Japan, bring a first aid kit. You can't buy it. I spoke to them when at the pharmacy, at the department store. Can't buy a first aid kit. They're like, buy a box and buy everything separate and put it in the box. I'm like, no, I don't know what to buy. Like, why can't you just sell me a
want
kit?
everything.
I just want all the stuff. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh god.
Wow, so they actually
don't have a kit. They don't sell kits. So
Okay.
if you're going to Japan to Ebisu, bring a kit.
If you're going Streeto, bring a kit.
Yeah, definitely. If you're
Like,
going anywhere,
if you're
out
doing
of
anything,
town, don't expect that the track's facilities are going to be amazing because high chance that someone's forgotten to stock up on the bandages or the band-aids or whatever you need, you know?
Yeah, it can never hurt to be safe. Like,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's not even
antiseptic cream
hard.
and stuff to that stops infections and stuff like that. If you cut
Yeah.
yourself on rusty steel on your car,
Yeah,
which
just
happens
like-
all the time, you want to get that disinfected, you know,
Yeah.
ASAP. So
And
just
it's-
buy a $20 first aid kit. It's all you need.
Yeah,
Like,
like-
stick it in your car.
90% of us all run aftermarket jacks anyway, so just pop it in your little side pocket in the car, and then it's
Yep.
there. It won't
Yep.
go missing.
Exactly, or in your glove box. Easy.
I got a tiny glove box.
It's not the only thing you got that's tiny.
Ouch.
Not that I would know.
Where we go to next?
Rear-mounted radiator setups.
Run steel pipes through the car
Yes.
and run a proper like rear firewall setup.
Yeah.
And what? Actually, it was funny that incident at World Time Attack
Yep.
happened. There was also another one.
happened.
Jump out the car, let it go, whatever. I wish I had the video to put up here because that was just brilliant.
Yeah.
Just full cowboyed out of the car.
Yeah, that
Like,
was Shanahan. What's
Yeah.
his first name? Connor?
I think it's Connor Shanahan.
Connor
yeah.
Shanahan from Ireland.
yeah,
Yeah,
like-
just like bailed out of the car. He's like, fuck this.
He's like, I thought I put the handbrake on him. I didn't care. It was hot.
still like left it in gear and just like, fuck this, I'm out. I'm out.
I don't blame him at all.
No,
Hey.
like so that basically what happened with that car is the hoses were running into the boot to the radiator setup. It might have even had steel hoses that went to the boot. One way or another, it sprayed hot water
Boiling hot coolant.
water onto his back. And he got the hell out of there, and I don't blame him one bit.
No.
If you're gonna do it, a firewall.
Yeah,
Put a firewall in the
big
back.
firewall.
If you're doing a surge tank fuel setup in the back, put a firewall in the back.
One.
It's
I've seen a few
simple.
dodgy setups.
Cover your all your lines. If you have to run those radiator lines through the car, put it some kind of a cover over it so that they can't spray up at you. Don't be like that guy.
Yeah, don't be the guy that built the car for Connor.
You don't want to turn into a steamed dim sim.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory, and it should have been pulled up in some kind of tech.
Yeah, I don't know how.
I don't know how
that could have
far.
happened without tech inspection. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah. So
Anyway,
anyway,
helmets.
helmets.
Can I call you out on that one for wearing an open face today?
Yeah, it's all I've got in Australia. So I've been meaning to buy another one. They're not that dear. I wasn't driving. I can't hit a
Fair
steering
call, fair
wheel
call.
with
I think
my
you're just
face.
making excuses because you probably
I
used
am.
it while you drove.
I
Yeah,
am making
dude.
excuses, but in saying that, I haven't driven with an open face in 8 months.
A while.
So,
You've
and
wised up.
yeah, and I wouldn't drive again with an open face because I've seen, or not seen, but I've heard lots of things that happen to people when their face hits a steering wheel that's on an open face helmet, and that as I'm sure many people can
Just
envision.
imagine right now.
Yeah, straight
Not
across
pretty.
your nose and your eyes
And your mouth.
and your mouth,
your teeth.
caving your whole face in. Don't buy open faces. Like, yeah, I wouldn't even use an open face on a motorbike. Like,
Oh, hell's no.
I'm pretty sure my nose sticks out further than the front of my helmet. So
Yeah, no, it's like my mate got his motorbike and he had an open face. He owned the open face for all of that ride home, and then he went and ordered a new helmet because he said it was insane, just dangerous, and the amount of stuff that just hit his face was just
Yep. Just buy a full face. Obviously, you can only use full faces with hands devices and stuff like that, and also with neck braces too.
Yeah.
So, buy a quality one.
Make sure it's all got the tags and stuff on it.
Yeah, make sure it's in date.
Yes.
I think they go out of date every 6 to 10 years.
Or if
Check
you
the
have a
date when
big
you
crash.
buy it too, because you don't want to buy something that's been sitting on the shelf for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
You know,
Pretty
foam
much.
goes bad, everything goes bad, you know, and you're only going to get a couple of years out of it. So, buy a decent branded one. Don't just go to Aldi and grab a crap one from there. Go to a proper motorcycle shop. They're easy to find. That's
they're
probably one of the
everywhere.
simplest and easiest to find things.
Yeah.
Don't buy a used one. Buy brand new. Make sure it fits you nicely. Speak to the guys at the motorcycle shop. They know what ones you need.
They'll be able to fit it up for you. and
They
everything.
check it. They are trained in that.
Most definitely. Just
Yep.
Don't break your head.
Yep. You can get them all in all different like fiberglass, polycarbonate, all this kind of stuff.
Everything.
Yeah. Just buy the most expensive one you can afford, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's out pretty much.
Because
How
it
goes.
generally goes just the more expensive you go, the better it is.
The better, the lighter, and the more protection you'll get. I think it was Donut Media or Hoonigan, one of the two. They cut open a $50 helmet and a $500 helmet.
Oh,
and
yes, I've seen
that's
this
an
video.
awesome video to go and watch. It will make you just go, "Oh, I need to go spend a lot more money on a helmet."
Yeah.
You know, search that. It's like a $50 helmet versus $500 helmet or something like that. I'm sure you'll be able to find it.
I think there's also these really old videos of a bunch of like drunk Russian people, and they're going on about helmets, and they put them up on like a bench, and this big Russian guy comes with a baseball bat and just like smacks this $50 helmet and just shatters, and then he goes and puts this brand new, I don't even remember the name of it. He's like, here, bang, hits it, and he keeps hitting it, and he can't get it to break. Like he's just like smashing down it, and it won't break.
Yeah.
Where this other one took one hit, it was gone.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty self-explanatory. The more you pay, the better you're going to get.
Yeah, the more protection you'll have.
Yep. You only get one head.
Yeah, 100%.
And in my defense, my open face was pretty expensive open face too. So
Yeah.
it was like a $350 open face. So
Oh, no, confess. Just saying.
yep, young and dumb.
Yep. You're
What
not even
else?
young anymore, old man.
Yeah, well, I was when I bought the helmet.
Sure. Sure.
It's probably out of date by now.
I think we're moving on to
Tires.
more like general stuff. Yeah, so this is more aimed at people that have street cars, but if you're doing anything with a race car, always make sure you've got good tires.
Mhm.
Like, I work at a tire shop, and the amount of people that even just come in with their drift cars for just checkups and alignments and stuff like that, they come in with like wires hanging out of their steers, and they're complaining of understeer and stuff like that. I think there's a reason for it. You're running a drift car, you got a lot of front camber, you run a lot of toe out.
Yeah.
You're going to wear your front tires. Is this something you're going to have to budget into, I guess, your
Street car.
street car and your budget for drifting? Because, like,
Yeah, you can go through fronts pretty quick. Like, we'll put it this way. I got actually a story about that from Ebisu.
shoot.
Not last year, but the year before.
Yeah.
Or the time before. Me and my friend Tanner, we were going around North Course. It was my second day of drifting on my second trip to Ebisu. So I'd already done 8 days in my previous trip, and then this was my 10th in total day of drifting. And we could do a North Course, and you know, we're chatting as we're driving because that's just what we do when I'm drifting, especially if I'm with Tanner. And we're just coming around the big corner, and just all of a sudden, I just got this really weird feeling as I was driving, like kind of like understeer, but it's super hard to explain. It was just this really odd feeling, like
the car was shoving itself, yeah?
No, it felt like it was just steering with one wheel. Like, it was just, it's so hard to explain how it felt. And we're just like, oh, that was weird. And we just kept talking and did another lap and it did the same thing. And we're like, whoa, something's real up here, you know, like, and we're swerving along and it was fine, like, as we were just driving along normally. But when we went drifting, it would just do something really weird. I'm like, all right, time to pull in. Checked it. Was totally down to belts on the inside of the tires, on tires that were 10 track days old.
Yeah, but then you got to remember how much you drive each one of those days.
Yeah.
See, like, a lot of us will go and drive for 4 hours, and that's generally a track day.
Yeah.
But how many hours a day do you do at Ebisu?
Oh,
You'd be there. Yeah, but you start.
you would still get 4 to 5 hours driving, but you're not sitting in lineups.
Yes. See,
So I'd say 4 hours of solid driving.
yeah, so when we have 4 hours at a track day here, we're probably in lineup for
You probably
a solid
get 2.5 hours of total.
Yeah,
track
you probably
time.
get like 2 to 2.5 hours of actual drive time.
Yeah.
Because of lineup, weight, and all that stuff.
These were also semis. They were RSRs, so they're gonna wear quicker too.
Yeah, so the Skyline, notoriously understeery car. So I also run semi-slicks on the front of my car.
Yep.
And that's, coming in, is just something you're going to have to budget into it because, I only get about 2 months on a good day out of my front tires.
Yeah.
Purely just because that's the way the car's set up and that it's just part of it. If you're doing drifting, it's just, part of the cost. You got to factor it into. You can't just sit there and go, oh, I'm just going to run these tires down to belts because...
Yeah, I would say every fourth event, change your tires, your front tires, switch them onto the backs.
See, there's the thing is, like, if you're running directionals, maybe just even get them swapped. Like, see, this is what I do to mine, is I run mine until I get to just before the indicators on the inside, and then I go, boop, swap them left to right.
Yep.
And then I've got,
Decent
another 4 weeks of driving on them before I have to go and change them. And then I can go and put them on the rear because I've still got a bit of tread on the outside, and it'll just be fine.
Yep.
But, yeah, the important thing is always check it because, you do a lot of... rifle braking while you're drifting as well.
Yep.
When you're coming into corners, easy to lock up. Whatever. Braking when you're drifting.
Right foot braking is normal braking.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't do left foot braking while I drift, but
Oh, really?
and as I come into entry, I use the front brakes to like hold the car in rather than the handbrake sometimes.
Yeah.
But when you do that, you also lock the front up a fair bit. And it takes one good lock up and you can ruin a semi-slick. You can go straight to belts. It's super easy to do. It's happened to my friend. He bought 88 Rs. One lockup where he spun out and it just went straight to belts.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's actually what killed those RSRs at Ebisu, was locking up the front on the trying to get it to
flick
really
tight.
flick hard. And because I was doing like a lot of like left foot braking on that track, and I think that's what killed it quicker.
So it's like just keep a general eye on it. Don't drive around on the street with bone tires because it's just. It also comes into you've got other people on the road and they don't want to deal with your bad decision of driving with shit tires. I already have to deal with all of that anyway for every other day.
Yeah.
But
tires, just check them periodically. That really caught me off guard because I didn't think I'd be going through tires that quick fronts at Ebisu. So now every first day of every trip, smash on brand new tires on the front. I know that they haven't been sitting under the snow for a year too, and they're fresh.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. Always check
Tires
the
get
date.
old.
Yep. Always check the date on your steer tires. It's gonna be under.
Want to know what year mine are from?
Pardon?
Want to know what year mine are from on the 86? No, you don't.
No, I do.
2003. Ooh, 15-year-old.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
But yes, always check the date. It's if you don't know where it is, it'll be on the sidewall. It'll always see DOT, and then it'll have a bunch of serial numbers, and at the end it'll say the week made and the year. So always check that. I wouldn't recommend running anything older than 5 years because that's when we can't.
So the good thing about my car is I haven't driven it in 6 months. So
hey, you drove it down the road for paint. That counts.
Well, made it back, didn't it?
Somehow.
General maintenance is the only thing left on that list.
General maintenance. This is actually a story that happened to me recently because the 86 was just one of those cars that nothing ever happened to it. Ever. I didn't matter what I did. I could jump ripple strips. I ran it into an embankment. Nothing ever came loose on that car.
Yeah.
Nothing. And it made me really, really complacent about the Skyline that actually rattles bolts loose.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I was actually like driving down the road one day. I was just put my foot on the brake and the steering wheel went. I was like, what the fuck? You know what's happening? I took it into work, put it up on the hoist, and like LCA bolts were loose.
Oof.
Upper camber arm bolts were loose.
Oof.
Steering rack bolts were loose.
Oof.
Rear toe arm bolt had moved and
Mhm.
was not tight anymore.
Mhm.
What else? There was another thing that was loose.
So that's a big thing with your
caster rod.
eccentric steering
Yeah,
bolts on the rear.
eccentric bolts. If you are doing any sort of aftermarket arm modification, just get rid of them. They suck. They hate drifting. They move all the
Get
time.
the eccentric lockout kit from GK Tech.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other companies that do it. That's what's easily available for us.
It's definitely...
Yeah.
It also makes your wheel liner much happier when he has to do a drift car.
This is obviously if you're going aftermarket arms.
Yes. If you're doing aftermarket arms and everything.
Yeah.
Just makes a world of difference because you've got the adjustment in your arm already. You don't need that messing up where it sits because it's... You hit a ripple strip with an eccentric bolt like we did today. Mine's probably got like 2 mil
it's probably
toe
already
out
out
now.
of the alignment. Yeah.
So they move real easy. It's not worth it. Just if you're spending money on arms, get a lockout kit.
Yep.
Well worth it.
Yep.
Maybe like, I'd say every 2 to 3 drift events, just jack your car up and check everything because...
Well, I do it every time I go to Ebisu on the first day.
Yeah,
I'll
but
jack it up,
you
go
also
over the whole
drift
car.
for about a week.
You're doing 3 drift events in a week.
Yeah, so every 2 to 3, maybe even 4, depending on your car, just go over and check everything. Because like my steering rack was loose, and that's something that is very important. You don't want that coming loose.
Checking all bushings, and this is the times to go and check all your ball joints bushings and just general stuff
Yeah,
that
definitely.
you do in a general check. You know, if you don't know how to do it, take it to someone who does.
Yeah, 100%.
That's it.
Because it's just not worth it. Like, I was happy that I went and figured it out that I was all that stuff loose, and now I'm like real religious about it. I just go and check it after every 2 or 3 events, just because you don't want something to come loose while you're driving.
Yeah,
like imagine if that LCA bolt actually came out while I was driving. That would have been a whole world of shit.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm just remembering now, looking at these photos in the background of your car. It used to have the white hatch.
It still has the white hatch.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh,
it didn't get primed, so it's now a primer 86 with a white hatch.
Nice.
Yeah, that's getting painted.
On that note,
on the other, one last thing.
Do you? Oh.
One last thing. If you're going to get fabrication done, extended LCAs, knuckles, whatever.
Probably don't run them on a street car. Ben. If you do, make sure it's being
thank you very
done
much
by...
for listening.
If you do, make sure it's done by a very reputable person.
Make sure it's done.
You know, there's specific ways that you have to weld cast, and thankfully S13 cast steel is actually really nice to weld, but it still has to be done properly.
Yes,
with the correct filler has to be used, or it will crack like it did on Jacob Peck's inlet manifold that got welded up, and it wasn't used. They obviously didn't use the correct filler rods on that, because it's cast inlet manifold, and they didn't use the silicon electrodes. So always, if you're buying anything that's suspension related that has been modified, make sure it's been done by a proper fabricator that works at a reputable shop or has a good reputation that's been doing it for a while. With someone who's been doing knuckles previously and knows what they're doing.
Because
probably does it for a company.
Yeah.
And I can only think of 2 people in Brisbane that I would ever consider getting knuckles done by. So
I can only think of 2.
Yeah. So
I think they're different too.
They're out there, people that can do it, but there's not many people who I would trust. So
just look into the knuckles that you're getting.
Don't do it with your gasless welder at home, no matter what the internet tells you.
Don't listen to the internet.
Don't listen to the internet. We're on the internet.
No, but yeah, as I said,
and as a disclaimer as well, you know, like. This is just general stuff. I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm telling you to go look up how to do it properly from reputable places.
Yeah, 100%. Just look up for the stuff that you have.
Everything's brand specific and car specific, you know, and setup specific. You need to plan your safety into your build. we're just giving you some general do's and don'ts.
Yeah, there's just think about what you're doing when you do it, and if it doesn't look safe, it probably isn't safe.
Exactly. If you get into an accident, replace your harnesses and anything else to do with that accident.
Yeah,
you don't want to create a weak point somewhere.
No, because you only have one life and one back and one neck.
Yeah. And you don't want to spend the rest of your life in jail if your passenger dies too. It's not just all about you.
Yeah.
So, and generally in accidents, the driver survives, and it's the passengers who die. So, as sad as that is, just keep that in mind. It's not all about you, and you're not bulletproof.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Just be safe.
On that note, let's leave it.
And
wish me luck in Japan.
Yeah,
if you're over there, come say hi. I've said it last episode as well. I drove a white 32 with purple flames on the bonnet. You can't miss it.
Yeah.
So,
No, thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back at it once I'm back from Japan.
When do you actually get back from Japan?
Late November.
Okay, so you're going for about 3 weeks.
2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
Same.
Yep. So, yeah. Cool. All right, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
that. We'll catch